Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
This week on the Kindness Project, we talk about man love, Candy Crush, and we have part 2 of our interview with Olly Tapper from Global Returns Project.
Hello and welcome today to the Kindness Project. I am your host.
No, I'm supposed to introduce you.
Go on then.
I'm joined by the man who has become the king of Candy Crush. It's Chris Dames.
Chris Dames Esquire. And I'm joined by a girl who is trying to decide what colour job is what. It's Charlotte Dames. And we are joined by a man who's just told us he loves a bit of man love. It's Russell Dames.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
I think it's specific times, but it was okay with it. He was enjoying it.
So what subjects are we going to tackle first? Candy Crush, coloured jobs,
They're all green jobs.
or man love? What would you like
I feel like
to?
we should have a roulette wheel behind us.
We need a bit of a competition about what subject we're going to do first. I reckon Russell's. All right, Sophie's going to pick. Sophie's going to pick a subject. But that's while we're waiting for Sophie. Talk about Russell's man love. How long have you loved man love, Russ?
I've always
comment.
got,
I feel like we need
I've
to
always got
clarify.
man love. I love getting credit where credit's due.
Brotherly love. There's nothing wrong with a bit of brotherly love.
Nothing wrong
is
with
there?
that,
There's nothing wrong with a bit of man love. We are accepting and tolerant on the Kindness Project. We love a bit of man love, don't we? I mean, yeah. I mean, that conversation started, ladies and gents, when I had some amazing feedback over the weekend from somebody who said Russell is a bit of a legend. Now we know that, Charlotte.
Yeah, obviously.
We know that Russell's a bit of a legend, but it's always nice to hear us, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to get credit for the hard work I've put in.
Oh, you say that, and actually, that's a phone going in the background. That's how well prepared we are this morning. You say that, it does make you feel a bit awkward, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah, it does.
You are a bit of an awkward chicken nugget. I mean, despite the fact that in our recent boost in popularity, 1,000 downloads a day, just chuck that in there. You are taking all the credit. Because apparently since appearing on the podcast, you are the man that has solved the problem. Here comes our roulette wheel, though. Right, Sophie. Right, you've got to pick one of these subjects: Candy Crush, man love.
We've covered man love. Scrap it.
Oh, we need something to replace man love now. Skating. Candy Crush, skating, or coloured jobs.
Spin the wheel.
Doesn't really work on an audio forum, but we'll give it a go anyway.
Skating.
Skating.
So I know nothing about skating.
I know nothing about skating.
The Olympics skating was good.
You know what? What was incredible for me was the fact that number one, there's modern sports coming into the Olympics, which I think is absolutely amazing.
I'm ready for Axe throwing to appear any day now.
Do you reckon Axe throwing should?
Yeah.
Would you like to see Axe throwing in the Olympics?
I would, yes.
So would I, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you think about it, what sort of target-based sports are there? There's archery, shooting.
Yes.
That's it. Anything else?
I guess javelin, but that's throwing distances, so it's not really target.
Well, you know what would be amazing if you had to throw a javelin like 80 meters and hit a target. Otherwise, you didn't get a score. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I'm really like hoping they put some of like the not old sports, like
darts.
Oh, I was gonna say like log throwing.
Oh, cable tossing.
Yeah,
some
like
of the old Highland Games
flinging.
Boot flinging.
That's what it's called.
We're trying to go in the opposite direction, aren't we? With some modern sports, and you're just going boot. I tell you what, should we put some boot flinging in there, Russ? What old or new sport would you put in there?
I'm going for boot flinging.
Yeah.
You're up for a bit of
I
bootlegging.
like the sound of that.
I mean, if they ever put gaming in there, I think esports might be the next step.
Oh,
mightn't it?
esports, yeah.
My college just started doing an esports course.
Did
Well,
they?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So, so yeah, that's skating and then not skating covered. Then we need to cover colours of jobs. So, talk us through your colour of job theory.
No. Colour jobs? No, they're all green jobs.
They're all green jobs. And
Everyone
so
can
nobody's
do
got a
any
blue job or a pink job.
No.
Everybody's got a green job.
Yeah.
Who does the jobs in your house, Wells?
Kelly.
Kelly job. So in your house, every job's a Kelly job, is it?
Well, there's some jobs I do, not many.
Go on, tell us what the jobs you do.
I do most of the HMB work, most of the seminar work. Kelly does all their lists.
No, I'm talking about like household jobs, not
Well,
like work jobs.
No, they're all Kelly's responsibility.
What about equality?
You give me a ghast look, but Mum does most of the
It's
job.
not quite the way it sounds. So while I'm busy getting on doing what I need to do, Kelly does the housework and
Gotcha. So you're both busy doing what you're good at, specialisms. That's what you're saying. Okay, before we dig any deeper and we start getting complaint letters, let's move on to Candy Crush, possibly the most addictive game in the world. I was a bit of a latecomer to Candy Crush, and
So that's we skate over.
we are skating over what jobs I do because, frankly, I am embarrassingly
The
poor.
list is abysmally small.
Yeah, the list is abysmally small. But have a lovely time, ladies. Speak soon. But that's people leaving the house again. Professional podcasting at its finest.
Oh, when have we ever been completely professional?
So let's have a conversation about Mummy needing the miles for the bus. Candy Crush. And Candy Crush is possibly one of the most addictive
I
games
didn't
in the
like
world.
it. I
Yeah.
had it for about a week and then just deleted it because got bored.
Well, you know what? I got put off of Candy Crush a few years ago because I remember being on the tube into London and there was a guy there who was playing Candy Crush. He was sitting next to me when you could do that sort of thing, you know, when you could sit next to people and not worry about it. He was playing Candy Crush, and it seemed that every couple of minutes he was like spending 79p, and I thought actually that like sort of free game but pay per transaction job is dangerous. Do you know what I mean? It's a dangerous way to get in, and I made it wrong. I mean, even like sort of when and I love a good game, but even when I'm playing sort of the PlayStation, don't engage in.
You don't pay for anything but the game.
I don't pay for anything for the game, but the game, and doing it that way. I mean, I don't like download any like extra content or anything like that.
No, I don't either.
I just pay for the game and then it's safe, isn't it? How about you, Russ?
I've never played Candy Crush. I don't really game on mobile devices at all. I've got an iPad. I haven't got a game on it. I play, at the moment, I play Football Manager and Humankind, the new Sega game, out of this world.
Humankind? Is that like a Civilization style game, Russ?
It's the death of civilization, I tell you. It's pretty deep.
It's better than Civilization.
A lot of things about
it's
Civilization.
amazing.
Civilization's not that great.
It's out of this world.
Hold on.
Civilization in the 90s was a revolution from SimCity, but Humankind has took them all by storm.
Right, okay, well, I will take a look at Humankind. Is it available on Steam?
It's available on Steam and it's available Mac and PC, so...
Oh, cool.
We're not sponsored.
Right, well, sponsored by Steam. Steam, if you want to like to give us a quick buzz, or Sega, if you want to send us a giant Sonic the Hedgehog costume, either Charlotte or Russell will wear it. So you want to wear us.
I want to wear the
Can we come in fancy dress next week? I know it's a podcast, but that might be worth
Just
giving
take
it
a
a go.
picture and use it as like.
Yeah, exactly.
on the
Right.
socials.
So humankind is the game that we all need to play, apparently. Now let's talk about the question of the podcast, and people can get in touch with us on this particular podcast in a number of different ways. Why did you just try and bite the finger?
It was amazing. Like it's coming closer. Anyway, on Twitter we're at Olly Kindness. If you just type the kindness project into the Facebook search bar, and if you just do that for the Google search bar, we should be the first thing that comes up. And if not, well, sad, I guess. If you want to find the website directly, it's www.thekindnessproject.co.uk. If you want to email us, it's on@thekindnessproject.co.uk. We don't have MySpace or Friends Reunited because, as a podcast, we don't have any friends to be reunited with.
Friends Reunited, the social media channel I miss the most because I want to be reunited with some of my friends. Anyway,
Sad.
this question of the podcast comes with a little story. Okay, I'm in the office the other day, and we have a conversation in the office about hidden skills and talents. So again, another future question of the podcast might be, what skills and talents that can you do that like nobody really knows? And Herv, who works for the business and colleague of mine, turns around and says, "You know what, Chris? I am a dab hand at the tin whistle." Right, and I had to Google what a tin whistle was. It's like an Irish piccolo. It's like one of those like sort of little, like sort of Irish. It's like an Irish recorder, really, with a
I love recorder.
with a sound. So, I mean, what was your instrument as a kid? You played a couple of instruments.
Recorder, flute, ukulele. I think was my.
My big one was the steel drums. I know we've spoken about the podcast before, but I love playing steel drums. Russ?
Violin.
Violin? Did you play the violin?
At Starlight, they give me a violin.
Yeah, but you smashed it against the wall, didn't you?
Yeah.
Anyway,
so hard to learn.
anyway, yeah, you thought that's how you play it. Bang. Anyway,
Just as good as the drums.
so I thought it'd be a nice thing to do to buy her a tin whistle. So I, on my Amazon, again not sponsored, other shopping platforms are available. On Amazon, bought a tin whistle. Now while I'm on there, I'm also doing the marathon in 2 weeks. Went out for my long run, 22 miles yesterday. Legs are a bit painful today, but so did also these little sort of gummy bear sweets, which are energy sweets. So my shopping basket contained a tin whistle and some sweets.
It also contained some folder tabs that day that I bought for myself.
All right, amazing.
Yeah.
And some folder tabs. So a tin whistle and some sweets made me think, seems a bit unusual, doesn't it, as a purchase? What is the most unusual purchase you've ever made? Russ, keep it clean.
I buy a lot online. I don't really go in shops, but probably the strangest thing I've ever brought was a kitchen gadget.
Go on, what kitchen gadget? What did you do?
It was a NutriBlend.
Was it a NutriBlend?
No, I've got all the Ninja products. So let me tell you
You've
about.
got a Ninja. Sorry,
Let me tell
Ninja
you about.
products.
You don't know what the Ninja products are.
No, what are the Ninja
like-
products?
Let me tell you about that. I've got the air fryer. I've got the grill. I've got the blender. I've got the food processor.
Right, hold on. You said Ninja products.
Yeah.
You've not mentioned a samurai sword or a throwing star once. They're not Ninja products.
They're excellent products, though.
Yeah, I know, but you've never seen a ninja carrying around an air fryer, have you? I mean, that is falls out.
I've
I've
been in Japan, and you have, so.
Yeah, well, you know what? I do know that Japanese do a decent trade in knives, don't they? You know, they do super sharp knives. But don't call it ninja. No, don't call it ninja unless you're selling either throwing stars or a samurai sword or a black outfit. Don't call it ninja.
Have you never watched a channel while it's not on and they play those ads over and over and over?
I
That's
have.
the kind of stuff that they sell on those ads
Yeah.
at like 5 a.m.
So you got an air fryer and what else?
Air fryer, the grill XL.
Right.
I've got the food
He's
processor.
proud of that. I've got a big grill. I've got the man grill. What size grill do you get? XL.
Oh, I get XL shirt.
Do you get a little grill, Russ? Nah. Big grill.
I've got the
Big grill.
X, not L. Not L grill.
I've got,
XL.
let me
Why'd
think.
you get XL? My steaks are big.
Let
I
me-
need an XL grill.
The stakes are high. They're all so big.
Oh, anyway.
I've got the food
Did you get a small grill,
processor.
Russ? What size grill did you get, Russ?
I've got
Russ, what grill? What's
Okay,
his grill?
moving on.
I've got the food processor and the soup maker blender.
Right. Why do I think XL grill? Why do I think that you're hiding your most embarrassing purchases and just telling me what you bought for your kitchen? Have you bought any man love objects? All right, okay. Well,
No.
Did you get one of those machines that peels your vegetables for you?
No.
Okay, that's fine then.
peels your vegetables. Right, okay, let's quickly move on with the show. Question, therefore, is what's the most unusual? Sorry, Charlotte, what's the most unusual?
I don't buy things online. I just go into the shop.
Okay, you've ruined it.
Yeah.
Let's therefore move on to the show. But please let us know what you bought online, which might be unusual. If you bought the XL Ninja Grill, please do let us know.
It's not. I didn't buy it myself, and I didn't get it offline. But Mum bought me a full box set of the Hannibal films, so I have those.
Not so unusual, but quirky. I bought a spider and a scorpion online once.
Now, the problem is, Russ, we've got to move on for the purposes of time. And I can't believe you just chucked that in at the end. By the way, I bought a spider and a scorpion. You talked about your kitchen products. Oh, I bought an air fryer.
I did.
And then right at the end, you go, I bought a spider and a scorpion.
I did say to Kelly, what's the most unusual things we've brought? And she reminded me we brought a spider
You
and
bought two
scorpion.
dangerous animals online.
Yeah.
Right, anyway,
My friend got some stick insects, but it wasn't online. She just went into the shop.
we've got an interview to do. Should we get on with the show? Right, so we are going to talk about a little bit about Kindness News. And our first, because we've got Olly Tapper on, or we had Olly Tapper on last week, and we've got the second part of his interview this week, we are talking. Do you want to do the jingle?
Kindness news.
Environmental edition. And that's the first one is a bit London. It's greener, healthier, safer. One of London's busiest streets goes car-free. One of London's most famous thoroughfares has been reclaimed from the motor vehicle as part of plans to create a green oasis in the heart of the city. A section of the Strand that has been choked with red buses, black cabs and white vans, so they've done that, is now home to a temporary skate park. The facility, located outside Somerset House and King's College, London, will remain throughout September. And while plans are finalised to turn the 3-lane stretch of the road into a place for relaxation and recreation.
Those behind the project, dubbed Strand Aldwych, say they want to create a car-free cultural space where art is made and displayed, and pedestrians can amble. The road is a gateway to the West End theatres and nearby Covent Garden.
Canon Ivers, who leads the project, said, "I see a transformed Strand Aldwych as a place where the creative process is made visible, where art is made, not just displayed, where performances are rehearsed, not just performed." He added, "Reclaiming the Strand from traffic for people will create a greener, healthier, and safer city, freeing up the wonderful St Mary le Strange Church and making the street visually rich and resilient. Love that idea, and it's amazing that. Particularly in London, we're doing loads of great work about ensuring that we can all play a part in terms of protecting the environment. So amazing work by them. And I think I've just added a new place to visit in London on the list. Our second bit of kindness news is world's biggest factory to suck carbon from the sky and store it for millions of years turns on in Iceland.
The world's largest factory, built solely for the purpose of drawing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and storing it, has just come online in Iceland. Built in the geothermal park in Hellisheidi, the company hopes that this is merely a stepping stone necessary to scale up the model by a factor of 80 and thereby remove millions of tons of CO2 by the end of the decade. As a direct climate solution, as there could be, the Orca factory, just one of the number of climate change solutions offered by Icelandic firm Carbfix, takes CO2 from the air before separating the carbon from the oxygen, mixing it with water and sending it deep underground into basalt rock formations where it mineralizes. With 16 locations recycling CO2, Climeworks, the Swiss company which provides Orca with the CO2 intake fans, are currently extremely excited to have participated in a project that will permanently remove carbon rather than just recycling it. They say the green technology can be reproduced easily and to scale anywhere there is renewable energy and storage available. Orca was built adjacent to a local geothermal power plant, so it runs fully on renewable energy.
Yeah, I love that. You know what? The benefit we've got at the minute is scientists, companies, and certainly we spoke about this to Olly last week, and we're going to continue the conversation next week. But we, as a global community, have all got to play our part in terms of tackling climate change. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think it's becoming something people can't ignore anymore.
Yeah.
Because obviously all of the stuff with the melting and the weather's not.
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing the impact of climate change, and that will only intensify over time, won't it? So the fact that there are people out there doing amazing work is brilliant.
Yeah, and I mean, there's evidence to suggest if we let climate change continue on, we will either have decimated land or no land because, well, we're going to start sinking.
Yeah. So we do need to do something about it, and it's great to see that both science is stepping up to the mark in terms of inventing new technology that can have an impact, but also we're making lifestyle changes that have an impact. So 2 bits of kindness news and happiness news that hopefully show that we are making positive change. And on that note, let's move on to the second part of the interview with Olly. Olly does amazing work helping all of us really use the money we invest to make positive change in the world. If you haven't heard the first part of Olly's interview, it's actually on last week's podcast. Take a gander at that. It's all on the website www.kindnessproject.co.uk or wherever you get your podcasts. We're all over the show, Spotify, Podkicker, everywhere you can go to get a podcast, we're there. And enjoy the second part of the interview. I suppose the other thing to mention on that is that I didn't realise that some of your non-profits were lobbying government, because that's probably something from the commercial side big companies can do, but that advocacy of environmental causes has shown to make change, hasn't it?
It has. It's amazing. And another one of the organisations we support, Client Earth, do amazing. They treat the earth as their client, and they have shut down a huge number of coal power plants across Europe by using sort of legal mechanisms and just incredibly useful lawyers in order to say, well, hang on a minute, this isn't your shareholders aren't going to get value for money from this thing, so this power plant should be shut down. And they did that in Belchatov and Ostroleka recently. I'm constantly shocked by how effective these not-for-profits can be, and actually we did a piece of research recently which compared all of the individual lifestyle choices that people can take. So going vegan, flying less, eating. I've already said going vegan, but I mean driving a car less. All of these things, we compared it to making an allocation of £600 to the Global Returns Fund. And what we found is that it's 100 times more effective than any of the other lifestyle choices, which is not to say at all that you shouldn't do any of the others. And they're really, really important. But it was also startling to me, because I was like, well, whenever we hear about things we can do, we never hear about these not-for-profit initiatives.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We know that there's been sort of plenty of impacts, sort of studies on the impact of investing more sort of morally and ethically, and that does have an impact. But you're right, in terms of direct wealth donation to non-profits, that has an amazing impact. And talk to me about sort of that element of impact. So somebody says, look, I built wealth, I'm going to get the returns I need. I'm conscious that I want to make sure that the wealth not only looks after me, but potentially looks after my children. How do I protect the planet? What impact is my point? Is it 0.25?
Well, most people start at 0.25%, but it's ultimately up to the individual how much they do. Yeah.
What impact could that donation make? Help me understand the link between the donation and where the money goes and the impact it has.
Yeah, well, I guess to answer that, and it might not be in completely objective terms, because what we know about the work that these not-for-profits do is that it's difficult to measure, because it's not, you can't quantify it like you would an offset, and there are various problems that the offsets actually bring. And so when we think about impact, we actually prefer to think about returns. And while a sustainable investment might bring you financial returns, we like to think that a regenerative investment, or an investment into the Global Returns Fund, is going to bring you global returns, hence the name. And those global returns are the protection and enhancement of the biosphere. And so I guess you've got the CO2 that you're saving. Now we can't quantify that for every sort of donation for individuals, but from what I've just said, we know that it's highly effective. And B, you've got the understanding that you're kind of helping to shift the financial services industry to this new way of managing wealth. But also, see, you've got this knowledge that you're taking climate action, and you're doing the right thing for the planet and for your children.
And it goes back to, I mean, if we're being selfish about it, Olly, and I always joke that kindness often is selfish because it does make you feel good. It certainly does for me when I'm sort of talking to amazing people doing great work, because it gives me a buzz as well. But that knowing that you're doing the right thing, and knowing that your money has a sense of purpose, then potentially makes you a little bit happier.
Yeah, no, 100%. And one thing that we're very keen to do is we provide impact reports to anyone that allocates to the Global Returns Fund every 6 months, so that they know, this hasn't gone into a black hole. This is doing amazing things, and these are the things it's doing. So anyone that does choose will get sort of information,
updates.
Exactly, and if they and they should feel good about it, if I'm honest, because it's a great thing to do.
Cool. Talk to me a little bit about the progress the project has made so far. So when did it start? What progress have you made? And what are the ambitions? Talk to me about the ambitions.
Well, so in terms of progress, I can't say too much at the moment because there's some really interesting conversations going on with financial institutions, but I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
All I can say is that a number of these institutions have said that this is something they're very interested in, and we can see that there is this movement going on beyond ESG into this new paradigm.
You know what? There's a definite trend, isn't there? I think you know financial, particularly large ones, financial institutions do understand that they've got to play a part in this.
Yeah, 100%. And we have the conversations that we've had in the last few months compared with a year ago, which is when the Global Returns Project launched in October last year, are vastly different. And it seems like, what we're proposing is suddenly top of their agenda. And so the next few months are going to be really exciting for us, and keep your eyes peeled for some exciting announcements.
Ollie, we're going to have you back on, mate. I mean, like, literally, that is the most suspenseful answer I've ever had on the Kindness Project. I need to, we need to get you booked in when you've got some news to tell us. Maybe, Raz, we can put Ollie on Kindness News once he's got some news to share. We'll make sure we stay updated on the Global Returns Project. And I suppose the challenge that you guys have got is that sort of, soft nudge, that gentle persuasion, that advocacy, particularly of large financial institutions and government, seems to be a bit of a longer game, doesn't it? Because the conversations around climate change have been happening probably for a number of decades. How do you, in your opinion, sort of fast forward some of that? Because it is an urgent crisis. We do need to look at it more urgently. How do we make sure that people are taking this seriously and taking a bit more positive action more quickly?
Good question. Well, I mean, we know that the financial services industry can tend to sort of follow like a flock of sheep if one moves early.
Yeah.
And so what we're excited by is that we can see that there are a couple who are sort of putting their heads above the parapet and saying this is something that we're interested in doing, and we think that after that then others are going to think, well, I'm missing out here because this is genuinely exciting, it's genuinely new.
Yeah.
But you're right, lead times are slow. Like, these institutions have a lot of sort of box that need to be ticked, and a lot of things that need to sort of change. I guess the exciting thing for us is that we're also having some exciting conversations with IFAs, where there's and some of the sort of small and medium IFAs have less of that kind of heavy, exactly. And so that's kind of where we've got to. But I think what we're happy with the way that our project set up is that actually we've got something here that is financially sensible. It's not just about us going to these institutions saying the house is burning, let's do something, which it is, but we also know that this just makes sense.
Longer term it does. Absolutely, I completely get that. And I suppose the other big debate that's sort of happening in my head and in the wider financial community is that conversation around previous companies that had a detrimental impact on climate change, like a lot of the energy firms, now thinking about what their future looks like. I suppose the sort of motor vehicle industry might be another one, might it? And are looking at changing the way that they work for the future, so they've got sustainable business models. What do you think of that shift? And do you think that's happening more quickly? And how can we incentivize more companies to start thinking about changing their behaviour in the future?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a really difficult one, and I'm very torn on it from a purely personal point of view, because actually it's these large sort of oil companies that came up with this idea of a carbon footprint to start with, because they wanted individuals to feel like they were the only.
Yeah, there was no corporate responsibility, was there? That's the challenge.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I am, as a result, and probably very reasonably, quite dubious of any claims that they are making at the moment towards sort of more sustainable energy, and I think a lot of not-for-profits have actually called out the greenwashing that's going on, and being correct in calling it out. So I have to say that I am dubious of any kind of major oil company, and the other tactic that they've employed is actually, some of them have said, well, it's too late now, so you might as well keep investing in fossil fuels. So yeah, that's my personal view on.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. I mean, I'm glad I'm not the only natural optimist, but sometimes cynic in this interview, Olly. You know, it's just sometimes you've got to, you know, I sometimes say to people I speak to, I'm a natural optimist, but sometimes you've got to have a critical eye on certain things to make sure you're analysing it properly. Tell me a little bit about how people can get involved. They've listened to an interview, they're thinking, you know what, actually I can have a really sort of great potential positive impact here. How do they understand more, find out more, and get actively involved?
Well, thanks, Chris. Well, you can become a symbiotic investor, and you can do your allocation today by going to our website www.globalreturnsproject.earth, and there you can allocate your 0.25% directly to our amazing portfolio of not-for-profits.
And how easy is it for an individual to do, or do they need sort of the financial institutions they use to support them with it?
Well, so that there are two separate things you can do. You can, if you want, without your financial institution, you can just do it through the website.
Like donation, yeah.
You can do it straight away, and obviously, as we're a UK registered charity, that's eligible for gift aid. 100% of the allocation will go to the not-for-profits. The other thing you can do, as you say, is you can talk to your financial advisor. You can say, look, this is something I want to do, and this is something I think you should be offering to all of your clients, and that's the work that we're doing, obviously, and that's going well. But as the more people that can say it to their advisors and the people managing their money, their wealth managers, the private banks, the better. So that's another thing that you can do. You can sign up to our newsletter, and we give great fortnightly positive insights into various parts of the climate and nature crisis and things you can do. You can follow us on social media if you're that way inclined. But yeah, I mean,
there's plenty of ways to get involved, and let's be a bit more specific about where people can find you. So what's the website, what's the Twitter handles, how can people get in touch?
So people can get in touch with me first, actually, by emailing me if you want to, at olly@climatecrisis.earth.
Why have I got an image that you've now got a hotline in your room, Olly? Do you know what I mean? Have you got a big red phone?
I've got 4 or 5 phones, and I've had to put them on silent.
Just for the podcast. Please get a red phone for our next interview, mate. Just have it there, and just go, I'm really sorry, Chris, I need to take this call. All right, okay, yeah. No, that'd be great. I'm sorry, that's me on a tangent. Apologies. So,
I didn't have a good route today into it, but next time I'll
big red phone we need. Yeah. Okay, so where can people get in touch with you directly?
So you can email me at olly@climatecrisis.earth, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have from anything from this interview. And B, probably more important than that, you can go to www.globalreturnsproject.earth, and there you can sign up for our newsletter. You can make this allocation. You can explore. You can see all of the not-for-profits we're supporting. And you can visit our knowledge hub. You can read about all of the publications we've got, and yeah, you can just sort of engage with what we're doing there. And on Twitter, you can follow us, Global Returns Project, Facebook, Global Returns Project, Instagram, Global Returns Project.
Global Returns Project, you're there. And then I suppose the other sort of final thing was, because I'm thinking a lot about sort of purpose at the minute, and sort of having a career, as you say, where you're doing what you love and contributing to what's important to you. When did that start for you? When did that sort of aspiration to have a positive impact to the environment and make positive change? When did that thought process start, and how did it come to today?
I mean, I think just thinking about it now, it may well have been at school. At school, a lot of people I knew just wanted to make as much money as they could, and actually, I had a couple of older friends who just saw things differently, and they were like that they didn't do that when they left school, and they did something different. And it kind of made me think, well, I don't necessarily have to follow that path. And actually, there's some amazing stuff that people I look up to do that is just not on that trajectory. And then when I went to university, so that kind of introduced this idea that and that's not to say you can't make loads of money with that and not be moral with it, but I just challenged that idea that you go into investment banking straight away or whatever. So then I went to university. I studied geography, and one of the courses I did was on environmental knowledges and the politics of expertise. And the thing that I learned there was, I learned about climate change obviously through the geography degree, but what I learned is this is there's a huge level of inequality when it comes to climate change. The people that are often the poorest in the world are the people who are going to be worst affected by it. And I think there was a bit of I won't say a light bulb moment, because it wasn't a sudden click of the fingers. I think it happened over a year or two.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is what I want to do, and I want to work in the environmental space. And I was lucky enough to be able to do that, and got the opportunity to do the Global Returns Project.
But it's funny you should say that, because that I think that economic impact of crisis has been evidenced during the pandemic as well. We've been really grateful that the pandemic, even though it showed me that I'm the worst homeschooling dad in the world, not teaching as an aspiration for me, Ollie, was never. I'm glad it was the route I didn't take. Economically and from a comfort level and everything else, that we sort of breezed through that. And I was talking to Cass the other day about how grateful we are for that. Sort of really lucky that we've been in that position and managed to sort of weather the storm pretty much untouched. But how directly the impact is on people who are struggling, and how different the impact is. It does seem that the pandemic has had either a sort of a neutral or positive impact compared to one that's a bit more disastrous. And I think we forget that sometimes when we're living our daily lives. What do you think?
I completely agree with you, and a lot of us are so lucky in our lives that it is very easy just to breeze through them and not think about those things. But sometimes we just got to stop and think, and actually just watch what's happening around the world.
And maybe take some action to get involved in projects that help others.
100%, and as you say, and as the podcast says, just being kind and thinking kindly is often a first step to that.
Amazing. Ollie, you've been an absolute pleasure to interview. Thanks for coming on the podcast, mate, and we'll see you soon for the next edition, when you're probably going to have some big news for us.
Thanks, Chris. I managed to nab myself a second spot with that big announcement.
Cheers, Ollie. So that was the second part of Ollie's interview. Really enjoyed speaking to Ollie about the positive impact his organisation, him and his organisation, is making. Let's end the show as we normally do.
My time to shine. Tis the end of another podcast. But the end is never truly the end, because the end is always the beginning of something entirely new. That entirely new is answering last week's question of the podcast.
It is. And last week's question of the podcast was, who is your celebrity lookalike? Now, a couple of people wrote in saying, who was my celebrity lookalike? And I've had a few celebrity lookalikes over the years. The first one, I get a lot of David Williams. A lot of people say I look a bit like David Williams. A few years ago, people said I look like Zinedine Zidane, who's a French footballer, or was famous back in the sort of 90s. And once I had Ben Affleck.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
One time somebody said I look like Ben Affleck. They did.
Were they wearing glasses?
No, they had one stick. Right, and then we've got a few others. Dave Brooks said Mark Strong. We do not need to discuss this. And I checked out Dave's photo, and he does look quite a lot like Mark Strong. Ian L said he looks like Chuck Norris. Kevin Wood said Cesc Fabregas, who's a footballer. Oh, and Alex Dimitriades, as somebody pointed out the other day. John Cook reckons he looks like George Clooney. Michael Hall reckons he looks like Joss Whedon. Mark O'Halloran reckons he looks like Phil Collins. And Joshua Cartwright said he looks like Damian Lewis. And on that note, that is the end of another show. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gents. We'll see you next week on the Kindness Project, and we hope, wherever you are in the world, what are you doing, Russ? You having a little cup of coffee? He's using his Ninja XL grill. And on that note, have a lovely week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.